pleasure to be here with you. We were just talking about the New Yakas and all those people that are suffering from the hurricane. We're so used to those sort of things. You know, I was listening to 2 weeks without power, and we were down here over a month without power. But we didn't have the snow and we didn't have the cold, and poor souls, you know, that's just a horrible mix up there. I thought I'd just kind of talk to you a little bit today about health and spirituality. And thought I'd talk about health first, and then we can talk about spirituality and what's going on here on this planet. Because those that tend to try to look down the road more, that try to overview more, generally called your spiritual people. And those are just souls that are less involved in creation and more free from that mind and emotions. And so they're able to see a little more of what is, which is no different than anyone can do that. And we talked a lot about over the use of mind and emotions as tools as opposed to dominating factors. And we've just so used when we come here to have the mind, use the mind, that we forget that we're only using the mind and we forget who we are. And so this creates a lot of our problems and then our desires and emotions, of course. So I want to talk about that, and just the word spirituality for some freaks them out. And shouldn't, because it really is nothing more than those that realize that all life is tied together as one. And that it all comes from the same source, goes back to the same source, and there's nothing outside of that source. And if you look at all religions and all philosophies, that all kind of ties into that sort of thing. And so it's just those that are able to see that more and feel that more are your spiritual natured people. And those are, if you look at it spiritually, actually, those are souls that are awakening. So let's talk about that after we talk about a little bit of health here. You know, no matter what you are suffering with, no matter what it is, you know that the first order of the day is to get the house in order, is to get the house cleaned out of obstructions. If you want health in the human body, you must have good blood flow, good lymph flow, and good nerve flow. The three main energy flows of the human body that feed it, clean it, and move it. Blood feeds, lymph cleans, and nerve moves. So lymph is the big system of the human body that encompasses everywhere. Blood, second big system of the human body that encompasses everywhere. And of course the nervous system encompasses every place. But the nervous system is still cells and fluids. And you don't have to keep this or make this intellectual at all. You really want to keep life simple, because the simpler life is, the more free you feel. We are trapped by our own emotions and by our own thoughts. And I admittingly got trapped with this election because I knew what was going to happen. And so did anyone that is looking up a little bit more elevated, and it's cause and effect. It's just all cause and effect. You put out an action, you're going to get an equal and opposite reaction. This is true in health, this is true in politics, this is true everywhere, because it's the nature of creation. So in the spiritual fields, that's the fields where people, the like-minded thinking, which is a little more elevated than some humans that have their heads stuck down under the ground. And so they see these things, and they see things coming. The more a person releases creation, the more psychic or the more aware they are. The less they're in the way of themselves, the more they see others and see the rhythm of creation and the rhythm of life here and how it works. And they start to learn that for every action and reaction, there's a symptom. And you start to learn to work through ethics instead of morals. Morals are religious codes that help people to kind of keep those that are out of balance, kind of keeping them in kind of control. Ethics is something that comes from you, that comes from your love, your passion, your how you see the inner workings or the relationship of all life to itself. And so this is why I've talked a lot about getting away from the mind so much. Don't praise academics as much as you praise awareness, because awareness is your survival beyond academics. And your survival is key beyond this world. And I know we talk a lot about health, and there are those of you that would like me to just stick to that. Hard to do that, though, because you're such a magnificent being that you have all these components to yourself that you might have never been told. And you need to know more about those components that you use to enjoy or not to enjoy creation. Creation, again, is not you. It is your activity, your drama, your fun, your soap opera, if you will. So we love soap operas. It's obvious. I think it was, All My Children. You know, I would be at one house watching it, and then I'd get to another house watching it, and pretty soon I'd be getting into the All My Children. You know, you get pulled into creation, and that's what makes creation continuing and ongoing and playing. There's a time, though, that there are many of you that are just tired of the drama and need to have more succor, more fulfillment of self. You're done playing in the playground, and now you want to know more about the player. And that's what spirituality is learning more about you and your magnificent. And to only do that, you have to drop the play. You have to quit watching the movie, you know. And I won't say quit watching the movie, but quit participating so much mentally and emotionally into the movie. You know, even in health, you know, we get a little twisted. And to be honest with you, at this level right now, where we're at on this planet, humans are almost going backwards. And that shows you the power and strength of the negative side right now. Well, this is why I've come to all of you, is to turn on your lights, and you turn on your own lights, so we can brighten up the darkness and stop this going backwards and bring the forward motion. So we bring the more positive side, knowing that it is also the opposite side of the same coin. We, as the consciousness or the intelligent part of this, is not affected so much by that. We must become more and know more of who we really are. Well, obviously it is simple to understand that if creation and your drama, your life, is an activity of your desires and your thoughts, then by controlling those, by stepping outside of those, you learn a realm that is totally free. And you can see this, and I've said this before, try to think of 2 or 3 things together. Try to think of 3 things simultaneously. And you just can't do it. You can only think of one thing at a time. And as that thinking process starts to take place, just watch your own thoughts of how the mind starts to bring in old thought forms that you've had, old experiences, and starts to relationship, rationale, compare so it can have something to go by. That's the mind. But it isn't who you are. And that's what spirituality is. It breeds the love of everyone. It breeds camaraderie, ethics, where you naturally move. And a good society is one where people recognize that. And they don't hurt people because it's not a good thing to do. They don't hurt people because they see them just like themselves, part of the one. And it is so refreshing to deal with people at these levels. And that's where you're all going. You're all such beautiful souls, and needed to turn on the lights down here at this low level of creation, very low level. And we need to turn on some of those light bulbs and get people. There's so many people that just live in this gossip and hearsay and assumptions and all the crap that ties societies together and binds the social consciousness so people fight each other because they think better, their ideas are, and that's also the downfall in creation. So one has to be always guarded that he doesn't fall into those traps in his own worlds, you know. But keep health simple, because health is simply getting into that body and cleaning out and removing the obstructions. As you've seen here, chemistry only has two sides to it. There's only two sides to it, but there's all kinds of variations of pHs. And pH is the variations of acid and base or alkaline chemistry. It's just variations of chemistry. Those variations are determined by the electrons and the protons. And you can get deeper into that, understanding how acidic or how alkaline or base something is and its effect at these levels. So there's a multitude. At one level, an acid like estrogen can be very stimulating to things. Obviously dilates the capillaries, creates bleeding, blah, 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 blah. At the same time, that's an acid. If that acid goes unchecked, it can hurt. And as you get down in your more acidic pHs, the damage is obvious. And so you have to realize that the body is a manufacturing plant like crazy. Takes in chemistry, takes it through the manufacturing plant, the liver, the chemical factory, does what it needs to do, transmutates, combines, breaks down, and then sends that off through the blood to the heart, and then to be oxygenated to get a little bit of the carburetor stuff, and then off to the cells. And so, important to understand, that's obvious, the blood, but what about all these byproducts of all this activity? Because everywhere down this line, there's cells involved in the production of chemistry, the transmutation of chemistry, etc., whether it's the production of hormones, steroids, neurotransmitters, enzymes, the transmutation of glycogen back into glucose, or whatever, silica into calcium, all of this, the transmutation of one chemical element or compound into something else. The body does this all the time. But there's always chemical byproducts created at all these levels, in the lungs, in the liver, in the bowels, in the heart. Everywhere there's cells, there's chemical processes going on, but there's chemical byproducts created. You know, he who shall eat also shall poop. And so, therefore, you have to see that. But what we don't realize is cellular waste. I was just talking to a lady out here whose son, and actually, I think he's in his 30s or so, advanced MS, and they didn't remove his bladder, but basically disconnected it because it was dead. So his mother was in just now and said that, what's this big globs of white and green stuff coming out of his kidneys? I said, well, that's why he has MS right there. Those are the things of brain lesions and tumors and the breaking down of the cells, whether it's neurons or liver cells, hepatic cells, doesn't matter. That's how simple this is. If you get too caught up in that, you lose your sense of happiness and joy, because then the more intellectual that something becomes for you, a lot of people start closing off and the doors close. And as I said this many times, for the intellectual, it's a good control mechanism for those that are not so intellectual. But the problem is it locks them out of heaven a lot. You know, the mind locks you into creation. And so you have to learn when to use it and when not, when to hold them and when to fold them. So you just got to learn how to do that and work in that eternal now. Keeping the body healthy sometimes is a big job for some of you guys, and I understand that. And my heart is with you every second that you suffer and that you're trying to pull yourselves out of this. And this is why I fight strong as I do. And sometimes I get off my spiritual side because I know that it's all being taken care of, that our best bet is to become more of a vehicle. So spirit, the prana, the life force, whatever you wish to call, the God force, works through you and doesn't stop at you. Works through you. Because that's just ego to grab it for yourself. You want to be a channel for it, not in the word of channeling, but you want to be a vehicle for spirit, and that is through the words of kindness and love and happiness and bringing back the joy again in your life. And you will only do that when you free yourself from the chains of your desires. That's our problem. Oh, I'd like to have a new car. Oh, you know what? I need a new couch. Oh, I need that, and I need, and I need, and I need, and I need. And I look at these New Yorkers and I go, there's some needs. And I look at those poor people in Africa that barely have a tent. Where's their couch? Where's their bed? You know, so got some serious problems. So that's why we work as one will certainly get so much more done. And the need to have you guys out there helping others, I can't even begin to express to you the vitalness of your love and your beauty to the world that we live in. Each one of us gives love and beauty. Can you imagine? No matter what country you go into, you fly into Iran, the first thing you get off the plane is a big hug. Yeah! Or like in Hawaii, here's a lei. Welcome to our world. Look at the beauty and the uniqueness of this place. We need to get there because these cycles are going backwards a little bit, and I don't know. You know, and maybe that's just the way it's supposed to be. I will say this: if you watch in the States what happened, you will see that negativity is forever growing. I will tell you what it'll do to a lot of you, because there's so much anger right now in this country over what just took place. Because those that know or ever ran a household knows that you don't run a government like people run their lives, because bankruptcy court is full of people right now that did just that. But what it's doing, it's allowing people to let go of the government. Just let go. I don't care anymore. I just don't care anymore. That's when you start being home. That's when you start becoming free. God's still controlling its own creation, so you don't have to worry. But let go. There's an old saying out there, let go, let God. Now, this sounds a little cliche, but I will say this. That is powerful in that when you let go, your higher self, which is yourself, starts to give forth more. And that's the point. If you want to know more about that part of yourself, you have to let go of the mind and emotions and spend some time not desiring so much, not wanting so much, but enjoying what we already have. And materially, who cares? Who cares if you live in I live in an RV, but who cares if you live in an RV or you live there or you live there? Who cares? I particularly, the less materiality, the better. I find materiality suffocating. The more items you like and lost. I broke a beautiful shell that I've loved for years, you know, and that was the problem. I loved it, so I broke it. You know, and I thought, you know, I had to let go. It was a little thing that had a hold of me. And the more I let go, the more free I get. And this is how it works. And these have always been the teachings of the saints and the saviors. Who have you seen, whether it was Mohammed, Buddha, Jesus? They were all shown in the light of poverty, the light of less materiality and more spirituality. And that's what it's all about. It's right there in everybody's faces, is that it is your desires that bind you to the object of your desire, even the desire for health. And your health can always elude you. The best thing is just to let it all be. And by doing that, guess what happens? You relax. And by relaxing, fluids flow better. Nerves function better. So relaxing has always been the key component of all of this. So real important that we learn how to relax, but at that same time, use that relaxation for expansion of our awareness and consciousness. There's nothing wrong in doing nothing. Because in the art of doing nothing, you have it all. It's amazing. It's amazing how it is. So it's that simple. So those of you that are suffering, I've got a young man here, youth regenerator, not rejuvenator, youth regenerator. I can look at you immediately, my friend. If this is your face, I can already see immediately you're balding, you've got pituitary problems, you've got lymph problems in the head, my friend. This individual is an alcoholic and can't get away from it. So this is what you do. If you're an alcoholic, then what you want to get is the alcohol through these herbs. Make what you consume do something for you. in the positive toward your wellness. Clean out your liver, detoxify yourself. Even if you keep drinking, detoxify yourself. And as you continue to detoxify yourself, you keep working on your health, keep drinking if you want. We're going to keep building and strengthening and building and strengthening. And one day you'll be going, I don't need this anymore. Same thing with smoking. But if you try to quit, get this, if you try to stop smoking, what are you subconsciously telling yourself? You're smoking. I'm a smoker. And as you keep smoking, I used to say this to AA when you'd have somebody say, well, I'm Jim, I'm a recovering alcoholic for 30 years. I'm Betty, I'm a recovering alcoholic for 15. My pet answer is that long enough to be recovering? When are you going to not be an alcoholic at all? When are you not going to carry the consciousness of the issue with you? Because as long as you carry it, you are that. Whether you're participating in it or not, you've locked yourself in the world of an alcoholic. So you drink a little bit. Go after your health and your happiness, and you won't need that vice anymore. Go after your health issues. There's nothing more important in creation than the health of the body. Getting the health of that body goes into these etheric bodies, the emotions, the mind, gets them healthy, gets them quiet. Look at the mind on someone that's a meat eater versus someone that's a fruit eater. The fruit eater's mind is quiet, awake, observing, and ready to pounce. A meat eater is full of confusion, depression, acidosis, and unhappiness. You can see it for yourself. Become one. Spend time becoming a raw foodist and then go back eating dead animals. You'll feel the consciousness of that unless you're strong enough spiritually not to let that bother you. And that's where you need to go, to where nothing that happens out here bothers you. I'm still working on it. It's tough because you have a body in the physical world, in the emotional worlds, in the mental worlds. And you have to understand this war is not physical. You're seeing the physical manifestation, but this war is in the mental worlds first. And it reflects itself down to each level. That's why when you have an out-of-body experience, you can go to your same house in another level. It's a much finer level. If you'll see, you can move more with thought as opposed to active moving. You don't have, it's just a whole different ball game. You can communicate by thoughts instead of by mouths. Go back to that movie Cocoon. These are the fun things for those that are ready to leave creation. There are some souls that just got here. There are some souls that will enjoy this level and play with the tools of this level. This is more for those that are ready to take on a higher level of being and to get their bodies in shape and to be happy again and to find the sucre of their beingness and then play. And then you're much more of who you are then, and you're much more secure in yourself, and nothing can take you off that happiness. And no matter what it is, take my arm, take my leg, I don't care, So that's the sort of thing. But health is sometimes hard to win for some of you, but don't get frustrated because there's nothing else. I have people that run from one thing to another, one machine. But what if I try this? What if I do the baking soda treatment? What about the wand? What about this? What about that? Well, you have to use some common sense when you think about things. To be honest with you, machines never outdid God, and machines can create more problems than they create good things. So you have to be real careful. You don't want to use external things to try and force something that is based in chemistry. Chemistry always works the best along with physics with these things, and that is to shift your focus, shift your consumption. Go from the acid, the dead, the clogging, the mucus forming, to the freeing, the better digesting, the more enlivening, the better cleansing. Much better in how you feel. And the same thing with this young man fighting alcohol addiction. At this level, it's easy to get addicted because as a soul, this is the most confined level, or one of them, unless you go down into the plant life and you go down. You want claustrophobia? Let me take you from your human body down into a plant body just for a few seconds and give you a feeling of what that level is like, and you'll see what it does to you. I've done that. I can tell you, it's unbelievable at each level. But as you get out of body and you travel into these higher worlds, even within creation, this place becomes claustrophobic because it's so material, so dense. Look at this planet. Look at the humans on this planet. They're the problem, never part of the solution. So we need to fix the human consciousness. And it all starts from soul, which is you, and how you look through that mind and what you do with that, and how you interact with other universes. In other words, your friends or your lover or something like that. But always seek to get your bodies healthy and to work the best you can with that, because we are dealing in genetics majorly. We've talked about this a great deal on these YouTubes, and you're seeing it, and it's in my face more than ever. And I've been talking this to the staff for 10, 15, 20 years now, that the downhill slide genetically is going to hit us, and it's hitting us. These poor mothers and fathers bringing their babies in and not realizing what's going on, and then immediately they're given vaccinations. And I mean, you're entering a very low level right now of creation, and survival alone is a factor here now in America. And also look at Greece, look at Europe. This is survival of the species now. This isn't more wanting material items. It's survival, food, shelter, these things. We're back to that again because we got too involved in having them. So this is a renaissance of spirituality in a sense, in that you're either going to let go or go nuts. And I almost went nuts for a while there. I tried not to let it bother me, but when you're fighting the government and they're so corrupt, and the judicial systems, it can take you off your center. I try not to let it do that, but I'm a male. I'm a warrior guy, so it can. I feel like we sometimes need to go at war, but a different kind of war. Like Portugal, the War of Roses or Incarnations. I forget what they told me, but they stood up by the hundreds of thousands, marched up to the dictator's mansion there in Lisbon, and said, "You're done." And basically, he was done. I mean, that's what these things take. But it would just be great to see more spirituality, and I think that is another real big thing you all are going to help us do, is bring love and joy and more hugs to the world. Would that be cool? But it has to start with us. We're the one, and combining with those already spiritual people. I've followed spiritual teachings. Those are the teachings that help lift you up, not lock you down. Anytime someone locks you into a certain frozen thought form or emotion, get away, because you'll be trapped. And some people trap other people for years. Bad karma. So most people have to learn what all this is. Very important part of life is to learn you reap what you sow here. And also how you interact with your fellow beings. And it really comes down to these different states of consciousness. It comes down to how you see yourself. How do you perceive yourself? Do you perceive yourself as a humanoid? Or do you see yourself as a spiritual being, have a human experience? And that's really what you need to perceive yourself as, in my opinion. But you need to be a spiritual being, which is just what all of you are. And it's just tapping into that. And youth regenerator, that's just what you are. You're a beautiful spiritual being. You're just using something to go after some things, to hide a little bit. And just get into health. If you have to keep drinking, whatever you have to do for a while, but get into health. And let that be your motivating drive. Let happiness, feeling good, eating right be your motivating drive. And when that takes place, you'll overshadow all those other reasons. You also have to fix your kidneys and adrenals, by the way. It looks like you might have some pituitary work, but we'll see. Thank you for all your comments here. There's just so many of them, and I'm going to spend some time going over them, and I'm glad you like the longer videos. It's just that I don't have a choice. Nowadays, when I sit down, it can't be those smaller videos, and before they would only let us put them up at 15-minute increments. So we did have to divide it up a bit, but now we're able to do them longer, and I'm able to sit here a little longer. I still have plenty of time here, so maybe we'll go over some questions. But I know a lot of you, like I said, are in pain and are struggling. Hang in there. Keep it simple. Don't get confused. This lymph system in some people is literally chronic. And if you have chronic lymphatic problems, here's a good example. You could be facing, if you're one of the YouTubers and the Facebook people that are practitioners that are working with others, you could have a tumor in front of you and get it out quicker than you could deal with arthritis. Arthritis is a very chronic state of lymph congestion, adrenal failure, and everything else. So to move these acids out in a chronic state is a bit of an issue. It's going to take someone a while. They're going to have ups and downs. Their emotions are going to be involved because the adrenals and kidneys are involved. So all these things play a role. You know, being a healer is one of the greatest professions I think there is, but also one of the hardest ones, because that's if you're a true healer, those that heal people. If you're a symptom treater, excuse me, you know, a kid can do that. But a true healer works with body, mind, and emotions. And those are glandulars. Those are working through the glands and getting people healthy, making their glands healthy. Well, what brings things down? Why would you have unhealthy glands? What breaks down any tissue? Acids. There's only two sides to chemistry, remember? So remember that in creation, there's only two sides to creation, positive and negative, yin and yang. So keeping it simple is God had to have duality to have something other than it's something that appears outside of itself. Because something that's inclusive, something that's all. So if you're going to put your aspirations on anything, seek the allness of everything. If you have to seek anything, seek not seeking. Seek being in the present moment. Seek being away from thought and controlling thought. Seek to desire less. And then stop seeking. And you're home. So it's always a pleasure to talk to you and to spend some time with our team, because I consider you all part of our team. And we need to get every one of you well. So hang in there. We'll do it no matter what. We're all working as fast as much as we can. I know a lot of you are hurting. That isn't going to stop us. Poverty, not going to stop us. Nothing is going to stop us from healing people and making people well. They might try, guys, because that's the negative forces. And that's always been since the dawn of time, because creation has two sides to it always. There are days when the positive outrules the negative, but in these cycles, this is in Hinduism, I think, and Buddhism, the Kali Yuga. Well, the Kali Yuga is the final Yuga, or the last stages of creation, where the negative goes up, but so does the positive. And in time, then new cycles start. Everything is cyclic anyway. If you look at your body, you go through cycles. The thyroid goes through cycles. The adrenals go through cycles. So everything goes through these cycles. Be interesting, 11-11. Here we have, yesterday was 11-11-12, but last year was 11-11-11. I didn't see anything. I was trying to feel things. Now we're close to 12-12-12, and then 12-21. I think what you're going to see, though, is one side of creation getting more negative and the other side getting more positive. And so the importance is that you pick the positive side, always. All right. So what do you think we ask some questions here a little bit here? I know a lot of you have been waiting for this, and well, hang on. This is from, this is YouTube, Diane West, hoping you are well. Thank you, dear. I am, thank you. Was just wondering if you could do an uplifting spiritual video for people on Long Island and New York who were hit hard by Hurricane Sandy. And this goes on about all the people that are really hurting, and there's no question. And I see all the arguments and the fights, and we got to have our powers. And here we were well over a month, 2 months without power with Charlie. Just cleaned our bacon. We lost half our businesses here. You hear Katrina brought up, but you never hear Charlie. We ran out of body bags, to give you an example. Our police department ran out of body bags. So it's enough to say that it's a cleansing. It's enough to say is that I am real proud of a lot of those New Yorkers who looked at that and said, well, there's all my life's work, but I'm going to rebuild and start over again. Those are good spiritual people because they realize that spirituality is, or physical stuff is physical stuff. They come, they go. They can be blown away in an instant. It's you that matters. It's always been all about you anyway. It's always been about you and your creation. And you'll be happiest when you don't care. You can enjoy the bounties of creation all you want. But if you care, or you desire, you keep trapping yourself. One desire leads to another, one thought to another, and pretty soon you forgot who you were. Remember the little girl that I was telling you about, that her mother had just given birth, and she was like 5 or 6 years old, and she just gave birth to another infant, and brought her little newborn home, put him in the baby room, and the little girl then comes up to the mother and says, Mom, could I talk to the baby by myself? And their mother goes, yes. This is a client of mine telling me this story. And so the mother was a little like, that's interesting. Why would she want to talk to the baby? So she opened the door of the nursery and let the little girl in. And she stood and listened. And this little girl said, baby, could you tell me about God again? I'm about to forget. Good stuff. Because that's it. We forget. Well, the best way to get that memory back is don't desire so much out there. Don't have your attention full force into creation. That's like going to the movies and watching a real good movie. And I've always said this, that the best film directors are those that make you lose yourself even more in the drama. There are some out there that can't stop watching TV. They get into the Honey Boo Boos, they get into the soaps, they get into the lives of others, and pretty soon, not only you have your life and all that means, you're living other people's lives. And there's that site on the internet. You can get on and take on a whole new persona and a whole new world and meet other people and date them and everything else. And I'm thinking, it's just deeper loss of the individual. Keep losing you deeper and deeper, and then others can control you. And you have as many beings that want to control you as you have beings that want to free you. Just remember that on all levels. This creation at all levels is packed with beings and creatures of all shapes, all sizes, all colors. Just look on this little planet alone at the life forms on this planet. And know this is the lowest planet, or one of them, in creation. Imagine what's out there and what you can visit. Someone asked me to go out, talk about my out-of-body travels, and I will someday. Most of mine were positive. There was a couple that showed me how life was in places that was interesting. So this is true. You must be the light yourself. And thanks for this, Diane. This is important, and this is so true. You New Yorkers that stand tall and strong, you're the light, and you give light and succor to those that are more frail. It is about love and succor. And it's also about shelter and keeping warm and having a place to sleep. So, yeah, but I thought the president said that they were doing a really good job. Oh, you're going to forgive me. I don't slip in these little things, and I got to quit doing that. Thanks for your comment there. This is from Valerie Hope Bennett. Thank you, sweetheart. I love you. That was kind. You make me cry. Okay. I'm getting people like the longer videos. I doing my best. We really don't have any time that we do them. It's just when I can grab time, to tell you the truth. And, oh yeah. Okay, Lynn and Honor. Okay, I'll be on your radio show. Okay. Well, let's get to this pile. Oh, somebody asked me about liver enzymes. Dr. Morris, anyone who can explain me this? This is Rodrigo. That was a good one for me. Kitty 3. Whatever that is. Remember, I'm just a farm boy. I can't pronounce words that long. This is about a liver enzyme here that went up. If you're on too strong of lymphatic formulas, they're going to pull the acids out of the liver much more aggressively, and you can see elevated liver enzymes. The one reason we kind of took people off of lymph node 2 is that real strong on the liver. So yeah, some of these herbs can get real strong on the liver. But generally, if you see a liver enzyme go up, it's just your body detoxifying, and I would turn around and go at it. Put yourself on the liver gallbladder, because if you see a liver enzyme going up, you have liver or gallbladder problems. So you really want to clean that up. That's a first sign when you see elevated liver enzymes that your lymph system is not flowing through the liver like it should, and you're breaking down the liver, therefore you're seeing the enzymes of the liver going up there. And that's all this is. But this will be transient. This is AST, 5 to 40. What did you have there? You didn't say what it was here. But that's natural stuff. You have liver enzymes, ALT, AST, you have alkaline phosphatase. Alkaline phosphatase can be either liver, bones, or kidney. So generally correlated more with liver enzymes, so your blood work related to liver enzymes, but just keep detoxing your body. Take a look at the formulas that you're on. If you're on too many lymphatic formulas, back down a little bit, or if you're on in lymph node 2, back down a little bit on it, and just clean your liver out. But this also is a suggestion that you have liver problems. We see this whenever we go to the eye. So get a picture of your eye and look at your liver gallbladder area. I think you're going to find some chronic lymph problems, or even some genetic weaknesses for that matter. Excuse me. This is Riley. This Riley is a good dude. He's a 26-year-old male electrician. So is my son. He's a 33-year-old male electrician from Winnipeg, Canada, and have been watching your videos for about 3 months now. Over the last 2 to 3 years, I developed psoriasis, which is exactly acidosis between my butt cheeks. Move those lymphs. They got a poor lady right now that has a tumor right there. Not good. On the head of his thing, and fungal infection of most of my finger and toenails. So this tells you, Riley, that your lymph is really backed up, that this is a kidney problem. But at 26 years, we talk a lot about that. And you're in your 30s, your 20s, your teens, or younger, you're in trouble with your kidneys and adrenals and your lymph systems. This is what's getting all of you guys, and it's part of our problems in being unaware for so long. And I just feel that it's time to bring awareness to this planet. I can't get out of that, and I know that's what I'm here for, and all of you are here for, is to help us bring this up out. So detoxify yourself, Riley. Get that lymph, get your kidneys and adrenals, work on those two, and the lymph system, and get that filtering. That'll come off of the butts of the little baby wonger, and the fungus will come out when you get your lymph moving better. This just shows you that you're impacted with the adrenals. That's where you get too much fungus, and then of course you're not filtering. So you're seeing that all through your heads and nails, so you know you're systemically, meaning all body backed up there, man. So get this out of you, and all that psoriasis will go away. Also, when I was diagnosed a year ago with psoriasis, I also got tested. And get this, they're giving chemotherapy, I think, for psoriasis. So here we go. We have a high acid condition, just like any cancer or anything else, and we're giving more acids. I mean, these guys, nothing's stopping them. So all I can tell you is just get more aware and protect yourselves. Obviously, we have no protection outside of the self. And he also got testing diagnosed with psoriatic arthritis linked with psoriasis of the nails. Yada, yada. I mean, you know, you hear these medical doctors come up with this bull crap all the time. Oh, look now, you got arthritis from having psoriasis. What the hell? You know, these guys work from the butt end first. Let's go back. What? The same thing that created psoriasis also created what? Think a systemic lymph problem? You're going to have more than one little symptom come out, Riley. You're going to have a whole bunch of them as you get older. And being young like this, you're going to see what I see in my 60s, you're going to see in your 30s. And that's what scares me. That's why you're led to this, and you got to take care of yourself, my friend here. He's experiencing some joint pain, especially in my thumbs, big toes, lower back. Now, where's lower back, guys? Kidneys, L4, L5. Now, and sometimes slight hip and knee pain. So this young man is backed up lymphatically. He knows that. He's got acids written here, so he knows what's up. So now he's seeing that his lymph system is letting himself know all over, his joints, his everywhere, his private parts, his body. He can feel it in his joints. And if you don't get it out, Riley, you'll lose them. So be careful at 26 about overpounding on the joints for a while here and build up your health issues, my friend. Real important. Because you'll lose the knees, you'll lose the hips. I later diagnosed myself with candida problems. No kidding. But that's just an effect. That's just the effect, man. That's the effect of having weak adrenals and eating starch as you're younger, not metabolizing sugars properly. That's where most of that issue comes in, or eating foods full of it, like breads that are full of fungus or yeast. I also put on a bit of extra weight and felt very fatigued often. Well, there's your adrenals going down. There's your adrenals, my friend. It's going down. You're putting on the weight. You got to get away from starches. Better known in some fields as carbohydrates, which is ridiculous. They are carbohydrates, but they're starches. Get yourself on your fruit diet. Get yourself on your vegetables. Go after that. Do your fruit all day long and a big salad at night. If you have too much candida for fruit all day long, then by all means do fruit in the morning and do vegetables the rest of the day. But clean your body out. Get your kidneys and adrenals working, my friend. Real important. Clean out the bowels. Get your lymph moving, and you'll get all this out of you. Also put felt like I need a coffee to get going in the morning. You see, he's losing his adrenals, so he's getting less neurotransmitters. His nervous system's getting weaker. We need to change that around, build that up. You're 26 years old. You should be full of vim and vigor, my man. I begin to grow more concerned with these problems. I would too. Good man. See, this shows a spiritual guy right here, because he's concerned about his problems at 26 years old. That's pretty good, man. So that shows your spirituality right there. Most of you that come to us are going to be spiritual beings. I'm here to tell you, very few people can tolerate this level if they're not spiritual beings. Because this is I need to change my habits. I need to take self-discipline and control of what I've been doing that I haven't been able to, that I didn't know. So this demands a lot of you to get well. And so most of you are tearing it up, but it's your passion. Those are spiritual beings. Live life with a constant stream of pills since I had never been a fan of pharmaceuticals. And no one should ever be a fan of pharmaceuticals. We need to get rid of 90% of them, but we are going to need 10% of them at least. There's no question. We're too advanced not to need pharmaceuticals. Is that not sad? And mostly got there from the use of pharmaceuticals. How addicting. And they talk about marijuana and all these other things. Ooh. I keep searching and eventually found some good information, especially when I came across, oh, thanks, man. I never used to be too concerned with health and pretty much ate whatever. Well, you're a young man being awakened. A young man being awakened, my friend, and that's just right at the right time. Okay? There was a period of a few years ago where I was getting bad tonsillitis. And does anybody realize that that would be expected? Absolutely. And you're getting backed up all the way up this trunk, this GI tract, and pretty soon then it'll be IBS, and pretty soon acid reflux symptoms, and then it just goes on and on. Pretty soon we'll yank your tonsils out because, well, what do you do with swollen tissue? You cut it out. Don't clean it out. Something as easy as that. So you really are backing up, my friend. Don't get out of this antibiotic thing. You'll kill your good bacteria and you'll be in trouble. I now understand that I was only suppressing my immune system. Well, keep learning. Keep learning. I'm proud of you. Keep learning and keep going after it. I'm glad I never pushed to have my tonsils. Thank you. I'm glad you didn't either. Smart man. I've been on mostly a raw diet with lots of fruit for about 3 months now and went from 5'8", 190 pounds to 150. Good man. Pretty quickly I left what I see in the mirror now. I like what I see in the mirror. Good man. When I started watching your videos, I started with an herbal candida and kidney cleanse that I got locally and then ordered detox. Oh, good. Well, that's how you do it. Heal all TGI Brew. I'm currently on weeks 5 and 6. I'm going pretty well. I'm seeing lots of sediment in my urine. Now, this is incredible. You're doing good, man. I've inspired a few friends, families, coworkers. Forgive me for passing through this. I know he had, let me see. I'm not sure if he's feeding. Let me see. He's talking about, wait, here's someone in a coma. His physical body still works, but there's no one home. Well, but that soul is close. Because once that soul cuts that silver cord, there's no more body. I don't care what you do with it. Once you cut that silver cord, that's your channel to all, that links all the bodies together. Believe this or not, it's been seen by many. A lot of times you don't see that when you're out of body traveling, but that cord has been seen by many, and that is the link that ties one body to another body to another body to soul. And that's the cord. Cut that cord, you're done with the lower bodies. You're done with them. So, that soul is still hanging around. And I've always said, that you get in there and you get that body healthy, that soul can come back in and use it, it will do that. Especially if it's hanging around, because it ain't hanging around because mom's making apple pie. So this is this is important if we can get this guy. If he has a feeding tube, probably if he's in a coma, he's probably IV, but still, if we get a feeding tube in, he might be able to do some things here. It's getting his family and the docs on board with this. Isn't it worth a try? I remember this nurse, she had went down, she had hurt her knee in an emergency room. She fell outside of the emergency room, hurt her knee. And long story short, she needed several surgeries to fix it. So what happened is that the anesthesia took her down and she went into a coma. Just from the treatment of her problem, she went into a coma. And her dad and mom called me, heard about me, wanted me if I could help her. So the big problem was her husband. So how many times have we seen that one? So, to make a long story short, he called me and talked to me about it. And he said, why do you want to work on my wife? I said, why wouldn't you? And I'm talking to him about God and soul and understanding that. He wouldn't let us work on his wife. So obviously he didn't love her and wanted her dead. If I've got a woman that's in a coma and someone's got a possible remedy and they knew how to get the body healthy, hey, let's try it. We lost that. We lost that. Narcissism. If I can't get you, try something else, that's for sure. He's living at home for a couple of years now, can't imagine, but if he has a feeding tube, you're right, my friend, you can work that way. I know he has his appendix taken out 1 to 2 years before the crash, so that does give you some idea of malabsorption, because to have the appendix, which is like the tonsils, then that's the lymph system, and then I understand that goes through the whole gut, a small and large bowel, and we see this constantly nowadays. Which tells me he probably didn't have good lymph, right? You guys are so good. Well, I don't even need to read your stuff. You guys are too good. That's right. So I don't know. You let me know, man. But you're right on with how you think. You're right on. You guys are right on. Please explain, what does he say about carrots? Are they no good? Thank you. The Free Soul 22. See, even by your names, I can tell you guys are quite the spiritual beings. let's keep working together no matter, and let's just get stronger and a power to be reckoned with. Because these negative forces, we've got to bring the light and to bring that, at least the positive side, into a little more balance with the negative side. But it is going to be what it's going to be. You can't care. At the same time, you can be compassionate and loving. I mean, carrots. Remember that 256-year-old Chinese man? And I've often said, if you want to read his story, Google 256-year-old Chinese man, and he'll come up. I think someone did the other day and said he had 23 wives. He was born in 1600 something, died in 1933 at 256 years old. He said, he made a claim that he doesn't eat anything that grows below the ground. I can say that anything grows below the ground, potatoes, carrots, they're starchy. They're starchy. Now, Canada has some of the best carrots grown in the world. I've juiced organic Canadian carrots, and the juice was literally red. But that was in the 70s, so I don't know where you are now. But, boy, I've had some dang good carrot juice. Nutritively, okay. Starchy, yes. Detoxing, no. And we got into detoxifying with carrot juice back in the 70s, of course. That was the thing. And no wonder we didn't get very far. The difference between a carrot juice fast, I hate to say that, and a grape fast is night and day in detoxification. Now, if I say, give me a 40-day grape fast, would that be an accurate statement? No. If I said, would you go on a diet, a tropical diet of just grapes for 40 days, that would be more accurate. Because fasting really is water or dry. That's the bottom line. Fruit is not fasting. Fruit is eating what your body's designed to eat. No one could deny that we have frugivore bodies. If you do, you're reading books from Moose Jaw, Alaska, actually from Venus or somewhere. Oh, and I did see her. She's still alive. Omnic. I got some information about her the other day, the Venusian female that walked into a 13-year-old body. She tells her story all the time. She's been on radio for years, traveling the circuit, as we say. But carrots, not bad for you, but certainly not detoxifying. And if you're going after nerve damage, stay away. Get to the fruits, berries, and melons. But on a good, healthy diet, you're maintaining, you're building, okay, no problems. But the more starchy, the more difficult it is to digest and break down. All your starches, all your proteins are hard for the body to break down. That's why your body's not suited for them. We're not. No animal really is if you look at it. These complex foods are generally grown by man, or hybrid foods. And as the gentleman was talking about, the magnetic resonance of these foods are much less. When the higher off the planet you get, the more electrical the food is. Well, the more electrical, the more chemical the food is. And it's just so much better, but in a different way. This is Brenda. Hi, sweetheart. You are the, thanks, honey. Right, I started getting pains again, so I was not detoxed, and my body is not, I know, if you have, let's say if you have pain in the body, and you don't get into that lymph totally to get it out, and you just feel, I'm pain-free now, I'm okay, chances are you'll get that back someday. You get in and you get that passion going, and you rip that lymph system apart, and you clean that baby out, and you go way beyond that. And you'll never, we still have people running around in town that we helped them get rid of their cancers, 20 years ago, and they're still eating their pizzas and stuff, so they must be still standing. Oh, thanks, sweet 00976. Thank you for your comments, guys. I really appreciate that. It keeps us strong here because, it's not fun to carry high levels of near-death people. It really isn't. It's a trip. But it's all we got. And I need all your help. This is from the Free Soul again. I love that. And that's when you're totally free, is when you're awakened at the soul level. And there's no description of the soul because there's nothing to describe. You just are pure awareness. There's no definition to you other than you have awareness. It's not like here where you bump uglies with our little friends. Awareness is inclusive, allness. This question of the Free Soul is, what does he say about herpes? Well, most of us have it, probably. I had a pineapple, and 2 days later my lips were tingling, and I'm not sure if it came from the pineapple. Oh, yeah. That's my point. Now, I talk a lot about fruits and berries and melons, no question. I didn't say that they were good for you the way we're raising them and growing them. This is part of our problem in the States. And I know there's a lot of great organic farmers out there trying to make a difference, so I love you all. But our other farmers are out to lunch, and this is a problem. I mean, our brothers right next door in Mexico have some mighty good food, and our brother in Guatemala, tell me, I went right out there. I was thinking of Guadalupe because I've been there, but I was thinking Guatemala. I've had watermelons from Guatemala that just knocked me over. It was like, oh my God. And then there's Yaz in Thailand. He's chomping down on good food. Pineapples, any of the acid fruits, if they were raised organically, properly, the soils were taken care of properly, and you pick that fruit ripe, there's no way you're going to say a ripe pineapple is acidic, as you would not say that with a good organic orange. Now, I've had some oranges from California that are organic, but no offense, they weren't so good. I'm used to organic oranges this big. When you talk about building the health of a food, you're talking about food. I get these organic oranges this big and wonder what happened to them. I'm talking oranges this big, grapefruit-sized oranges, the paradise, the Finhorn effect. You ever read about Finhorn or go to Finhorn? Incredible. That's old, too. Herpes, definitely. We're all full of that stuff. These are virals. You can detox them out of the body, but these are proteins, by the way, and they deal in acids. So the more acidic you are, you're going to have a herpes outbreak anywhere, and it's just acids. And you'll see that. Well, when you eat unripe fruit, it is in its acid stages. And so it is going to be more acidic. It's just learning that fruits are one thing that you have to pick ripe. Vegetables, not so much. So detox that out of yourself, free soul, and get that cleaned out of there. And watch those pineapples. I'm going to say that if you can't get plant-ripe pineapples, question whether you should eat them. Same with everything else. Charnel, hi Dr. Morris, I wrote to you before about my PCOS. That's polycystic ovarian syndrome, meaning that her ovaries have multiple cysts on them. And what would create a cyst? Would that be the blood flowing through the ovary? Or what is that other fluid flowing through that ovary? Oh yeah, lymph. Are we lymph addicts here or what? And trying to get pregnant. Oh, honey, hang on a minute before you get pregnant and fix your kidneys and adrenals, then get pregnant, and you'll give your baby a good set of kidney and adrenals. If you get pregnant while you have these weaknesses, guess what you pass? But weaker. So you've got to fix this first. Well, now I am taking the female, the adrenal, the kidney and bladder, and the endocrine glands, and I am also douching with the Hilo tea at least once a week. Before I would never have a period, but now since I've been on the herbs, I can't stop bleeding. Is this normal? I don't want to go to the doctor unless I really have to. Much love. Okay. Now, you might call in here and talk to Jennifer about that. We have the bleeding formula. Sounds like your pituitary is a bit of an issue here, honey. Because anything that would keep you bleeding like that would definitely be pituitary. You know, and you might have a pituitary issue there. And then again, you know, you could be breaking open those cysts or something, and a lot of inflammation when you see that, a lot of acidosis, you know. So the female reproductive, though, that's not an estrogen formula. That's actually a progesterone formula, which should actually help you stop bleeding. That has pituitary herbs in it and everything. Could be pulling your body into balance as you're detoxing. Some people stop their period during detox, and some women get it back during detox. In the final analysis, it's all good, though. It all comes into normal ranges. But if something that keeps bothering you, call us. There's a bleeding formula that will help close all that down. But there's a point where what's the body trying to tell you and what's the body doing for you here? and we'd have to look at that. Having multiple cysts on the ovaries would say you have a lot of inflammation in the female areas, but that is all controlled by the pituitary way up here. So call her in if you need help, sweetheart. Oh, this is my buddy Nesbitt. I wrote to you recently with adrenal surges. I took 12 days of steamed veggies before the symptoms resolved. Look at that. Now I'm ready to get back on the fruits for another round. I've been taking one, and look what he did. We took him off the fruits and everything and just slowed everything down to get that body to balance out a little bit. Because, man, when you start turning up the chicken house, you got to be careful. And that's what you're doing. You're going in and you're stirring up everything. You're moving lymph, you're turning on, you're bringing alkaline chemistry in, everything's starting the process of hydration, and that's another thing. When you're working with these pH strips, my little fairy dust nectar, you're using these pH strips, and you're checking saliva, you're checking urine. Remember, saliva should always be alkaline, and your urine should be acidic, slightly so, I say. Now, around the 6s, mid to lower 6s. When you generally start on a raw food diet and you're not filtering, you're going to see alkaline urine, base urine. That is important, I've always thought, to the process of healing. As like God even knew, it's like amazing. But one thing that even the kidneys need to heal is base chemistry. And yet those sweet little things, have to filter acids out. Why the adrenals are hooked to them so importantly because the adrenal steroids are there. Really helpful in maintaining base acid balances. So it's important that maybe that urine be a process of alkalinity for a little while. But it shows that true interstitial, meaning around the cells, hydration does not occur immediately. That true interstitial hydration is a long involved process of starting to remove the obstruction in the kidneys and getting that filtration of the lymph going, and then anything closer to the kidneys, it doesn't happen from the head down, inside out. It happens closest to the kidneys. Everything starts moving and opening up. Obviously, those closest to the front door is going to go out first. So this is what this is. And so if you have a tumor up here, it could be a little while. That's the problem we're facing, is that it could be a while to get from here all the way up to here. So it's just one of those problems, and we have to work through it. When you start hydrating, you're moving lymph now. And as lymph is more acidic, it becomes anionic. Remember that? It becomes coagulated, dehydrated, thickened. You ain't going to just take some bicarbonate. You ain't just going to get into an oxygenator or a hyperbaric. You're not going to do those things, and suddenly your problems are gone. Just not going to happen because you have miles of lymph. Oh no, this is rolling up your sleeves and tearing out into your body and cleaning it up. When you do that, you will have remedy. If you're not, and it's your time to go to your journey on, then you'll probably leave the planet. If you fear that, I'll go for you. I don't want to go on your journey for you, but I will. This is kind of what's been called by Twitchell the ash can of the universe. That's when you're a traveler into these beautiful higher dimensions, even within creation. It gets a whole lot better and a whole lot more fun. So while you're in this hellhole, so to speak, it is going to be only that if you make it that. You want to always dwell in the allness of life, and you're above all these worlds. And then you can play in these worlds and not be trapped. Remember I told you I like that Michael movie with John Travolta, because you can see that attitude. Well, whoever directed that knew that spiritual attitude of detachment. And that with that spiritual attitude of detachment, you could play. And the play was for fun, like you were a little child again. You didn't take it serious. If you got mad, it only lasted for a few minutes, and then you were off again. You never held on to your problems. You let it go because you were too busy wanting in the next moment. And that's what we got used to. They trained us to use our minds. And they trained us to desire and to have the American dream. Right. You see where that gets you. Am I rattling on? And I've got to go. I've got an appointment, guys. So let's see here. 12 days steam bishop. I've heard you talk about creatinine and that. What it should be 0.7. Actually, Ms. Smith, your creatinine should be 0.3, 0.4. If it's 0.7, you're starting to lose the kidneys now. That's the first indicator at 7 that, these acids are starting to be trapped in my kidneys. How about blood urea nitrogen low? Because you're not on high protein diet, you're cleaning the proteins out of the body, so your bun should be low and creatinine should be low. But you're seeing in blood work where creatines are high and buns are low on raw foods. And your protein in your blood will be low. My recent test came back from the lab with an alert because it was so less than 0.2. Was it really? However, I researched and found out this could be due to a low protein diet. Thank you. Before the test, I was strictly a fruit. Exactly, man. Another issue was my white blood cells, which was low at 3.8. Is deer antler the best remedy for this? It's definitely a good remedy for this. There is a formula for bone marrow here. It's a Chinese formula called Marrow Plus. You might want to get that one. Keep moving your lymph, because what breaks bone marrow down is lymph, and you always want to all have a healthy bone marrow. That's your main immune system. That's what you want healthy. But she could just have a little dip and whites just temporarily and go back up. So watch this, Miss Beth. Make sure. Also, my urine pH was 8. So now here's an example. His urine pH was 8. Too alkaline. Way too alkaline. So he's losing his electrolytes. Well, you can't get upset, because this is what we're facing, is chronic kidney and adrenal problems. So it's just going to take him a little while to start that hydration. Keep hitting that body, though, Mrs. Keep hitting that body with the fruits. And after a while, when that lymph is starting to filter, those acids start filtering, it's going to obviously bring the urine pH down. You want in the mid to low 6s. And then you'll start to see your symptoms more quickly leave. And so that's just something you have to look through. Let's see, antler is good. How long? Ultimate Immune would be a good choice for you there, my friend. How long should it take to increase white blood cells? You could also hit the spleen if you wanted to. I don't know. It could be very quickly or not so. It just depends if this is a bone marrow problem or not. If it goes up and down a little bit like that's common for most of us. Also, my urine pH was 8. Is too alkaline. That's a problem. Can you also talk about cholesterol and triglycerides? Going too fast. Trying to get my next appointment. Cholesterol is the body's main antacid. When you detoxify, don't have your cholesterol checked, because it can be up, down, until you get your body cleaned out. When it's cleaned out, it'll go down into normal ranges, or it'll actually be slightly low. Same with the tries. What do you consider to acceptable results for these? We'll get into that. Is the answer for high cholesterol and triglycerides simply to alkalize and detox? It sure is, because that's what cholesterol does. That's what fats do. Fats play a lot of roles, but a big role of fats is antacids. Big role. And that's a big major role. So you always see fats involved when you're too acidic. You'll start getting these fatty tumors all over. Your cholesterol will go up. And by the way, just so you all know, that's why the eyes are so important, is that your cholesterol, blood serum cholesterol, can be perfect. And tomorrow you could die of a stroke or a heart attack because of cholesterol. Because your blood serum cholesterol levels have nothing to do with what your body's doing with cholesterol. That's why these statins are full of crap. Deepak Chopra, Dr. Wild, remember I told you, wrote a big article about this in the Wall Street or New York Times or whatever. And it was a good article. And basically laying it out, saying, hey, bottom line to this, you can't suppress your liver manufacturing of an essential lipid when the body uses it as an antacid. Wouldn't it be better to remedy the problem? In other words, remedy what your body's using it for. In other words, get rid of the acids out of the body. Therefore, then it'll back down because it doesn't have anything to do. Thank you. And get those adrenals up there so you can get those steroids that are LDL based. And so you'll breed new steroids, and those steroids will do the job instead of cholesterol itself. All right, I love you all, and I hope this wasn't too long of a video. I understand sitting there watching these things, but I tell you, it's always a pleasure to do them for you, because it's always a pleasure to be in the presence of all you beautiful souls. So just remember that. You're a beautiful spiritual being, and don't let anybody take that away from you. Give love, be love. And I love you all. May the blessings be. Namaste, Baraka Bashad. Bye.